Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Purple Eagles podcast, presented by Niagara University, SAC. I'm your host and the president of SAC, Maggie McIntyre. Today's guest is a very close friend of mine who I was lucky enough to work with all 4 years here at NU. She is one of the most caring people I know and has done a great job assisting athletes every single day. Welcome to the show, Heather Gerace, one of our athletic trainers.
Hi, Maggie. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Heather, thank you so much for being here. You're such a fan favorite.
Aw, precious.
Well, I first want to start by just maybe having you give us a rundown of what your role is here at NU. Maybe give us a little glimpse of your day-to-day life, what you do, and just explain to us your background.
So I am one of 6 athletic trainers that we have at the university. For those that don't know, most of you hopefully know, athletic trainers are basically first responders for athletic injuries and also take care of post-injury rehabs, treatment to get you guys back on the court, get you back to full participation. I work primarily with women's soccer and women's basketball at Niagara University. This is my 5th season there, and like Maggie said, I've been with her all 4 years of her career. That's kind of a gist in a nutshell what I do. Niagara is my first big girl job that I've had since I finished grad school, so it's been awesome.
And what's one of your favorite parts, maybe working at NU?
My job it's getting the satisfaction of seeing athletes return to participation after whether minor or major injury. To any athlete, you can't categorize it to them like that because any injury affects an athlete so much. Now, so much more than ever, we're, mental health and all that kind of stuff. So seeing an athlete get back after rehabbing with me and strength conditioning and all that kind of stuff is just great that's the best part of my job is seeing them work so hard for something and knowing that they can do it and getting them back to full participation and having great seasons and careers. That's the best part of athletic training wise. Niagara itself is great because it is small enough where I can walk around campus and a lot of the athletes know me, even other teams know me. When you get to bigger schools, they're always like, who's that?
Right.
Who are you? So that's why I like Niagara as a Division I institution, but yet small enough that every athlete needs to be like, okay, I know she's an athletic trainer. I know I can go to her. Someone else is not there for them to see at that moment.
Right. So I love that, first off, because I feel like so many people can relate to the small family atmosphere, and it just it makes everything better knowing that our staff feels the same way that we all do. Transitioning into these crazy times as quarantine,
Seriously.
How have you been spending your days? How has life changed for you? How has your job changed, if it has at all? Can you explain to us a little bit about that?
I remember after our tournament when we were on the bus back, it was like a switch went off on everything. Just like that first 3 days when we were coming back that Thursday from Max, it was like NBA is postponed, MLB, NHL, everything just stopped. It was like everything just completely turned off sports wise, and obviously sports is my job, so
yes,
it was just everything it was crazy because you heard the whispers of the coronavirus, and obviously when we were traveling, we were taking precautions the best we could. We were hand sanitizer and washing our hands and making sure that we were reciprocating good health and hygiene, that sort of stuff. But then it was you guys were going to spring break, so it was not that big a deal. And then on the bus ride home, they were we're going to extend it a week. So then everything just kind of went so serious so fast. It was crazy. So in terms of my job, it just kind of, obviously if there's no sports, it's not that it's hard for me to do. There's so much I'm doing, computer wise, but I'm so active when it comes to rehab and stuff like that it's FaceTiming and it's the social distancing part, and it's me with rehab and stuff like that, texting or writing them up, sending them video or FaceTiming and making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and stuff like that. Knock on wood, we had a lot of injuries in season, but now it's kind of the post-injury stuff where a lot of you guys are just kind of resting and that sort of stuff. So, But in terms of what I've been doing, staying busy, just kind of getting ready for next year. A lot of the returner stuff we have to do, the health histories and the incoming freshmen and that sort of stuff. So it's more computer work, which now I love the rehab portion of my job, so it's hard, and just kind of following the rules that you see the news stations and everyone saying, Governor Cuomo on our end and stuff like that, just social distancing. And I now when I go to the store wearing my mask, it's crazy. Hand sanitizers in my pocket. I have wet wipes all the time. It's crazy. But ever since I've gone home, the good thing is ever since I've gone home, my family I've seen every day. My mom, my sister, and my brother. So we've kept it our totally tight circle, and we don't really no outside views or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and how do you see how do you see a new normal going ahead for athletic training in general after this virus? If you do see a new norm at all.
I do see it ending. I see the world going back to it. Well, it's going to take time. I mean, like I said, everything's shut down like a light switch. It's not that the light switch is going to turn back on. Everything's going to be great, and everything's going to go back to going to Marshalls all the time and going out to drink and all that kind of stuff. It's, the biggest thing with this is on my end, from what I feel, is just mentally. Like, you're shut indoors. You can't do what normally we do. And as you know, being a social person at school and stuff like that, and with your family and all that kind of stuff, you're just kind of stuck.
Yeah.
In some sense, it's a big mental game. And I think in terms of, I hope this is my hope. Obviously, is that everything goes back to the way that it was. It's just going to take some time. And I think in terms of like training, it's something now. With general sicknesses, that it is now something that we have to make sure that if an athlete comes to us with these types of complaints of the sore throat, the dry cough, the fever, we're more conscious to be like, okay, maybe not just strep throat anymore, or maybe not just the flu.
Right.
Now we have to make sure that we're very cautious about this virus and how seriousness of it, and hopefully similar to you guys when we have you guys get the flu shots every year, it's the vaccine, however that works, if it's like the flu shot, every year. Now we add that into those extra precautions and trying to push towards people getting that as best we can,
Yeah, and you obviously have a very close relationship with athletes. You're with them every single day, and you get to know them personally. How do you feel about their seasons being taken away from them?
It's terrible. It's so sad. It's so hard. It's so hard for the seniors. If you're an underclassman, it's hard that you aren't doing what you love, because as an athlete you play that sport your entire life, and you've chosen to play it continuously in college too, and it's become of your everyday schedule, practice,
Right.
lifting, games, everything like that. And now that it just completely shut off, it's very sad. And I feel terrible, like I said, for the seniors. I hope that the spring sports can at least get their senior back. I don't know what's going to happen with all that. Feel bad, March Madness, all that. It's just crazy. And I feel very bad about seasons, but I feel terrible in terms of for seniors like yourself, the fact that you can't have those last months with the people that you've gotten so close with, and your graduation. You worked so hard for 4 years academically on top of being a student athlete that you should be recognized for that. So, and you don't have those last few months with the best friends that you've made, even if they're not an athlete, not a team, but outside. It's just it's so sad. It's so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and obviously a lot of us are in the same boat. But with that being said, what advice maybe do you have for athletes going forward, or at least to deal with these crazy times that we're going through?
I would say try to keep as normal schedule if you've had in school. I know the socially you can't do the things that us athletic trainers, coaches don't know about, the social stuff like that, but still keep in contact with all your friends. We're lucky in this day and age that we have the FaceTime, we have texting, we have Zoom, we have all that kind of stuff that you can really keep in touch with them. And as you know, you have Emerald in England, you have Diney in Iceland, and just making sure that you're keeping that connection with those that you are close with. Try to keep it as normal. You talk to them every day, talk to them every day still. Schoolwork, still keep a schedule when it comes to, obviously you can't, there's no practice and organized activity like that, but with lifting, try to find some way to keep getting your exercise and keep getting the strength conditioning tips that Matt or Alex has sent you, all that kind of stuff. It'll help so much, I feel, to keep the routine that you're so used to, instead of, we obviously are going to have those lazy moments now, Netflix
Sure.
and Tiger King and all that kind of stuff. So my suggestion is, with me especially, because if I don't keep a routine, I get so thrown off, and then I get so lazy, and then I don't know where to even begin with everything that I've either put off or anything like that. So with me, I try to keep a schedule the best I can, like I would in everyday life. My
Mm-hmm.
schedule was practice, 10 to 6, working, workout, dinner, get up, work. Just try to keep your routine as best you can.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you have to say to the NU athletic community, but if you do.
I think the main thing is, we've gotten used to where we are right now, in terms of quarantine or social distancing and stuff like that. But I know when this all went down, I have no problem talking. My anxiety was through the roof. It was like, oh my God, I'm stuck indoors. I don't have a routine. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm so scared of someone getting sick. I'm so scared of my family, going outside. I was like, oh my God, my dad's over 60. He has diabetes. I'm so terrified. My grandmother, everything. The main thing is just to remain calm as best you can and just do what they're asking you to do. The hand sanitizers, the social distancing. I know, 99% of the time the people our age are going to be just fine,
Yeah.
But you don't want to risk anyone else. And this is temporary. It will pass. It's just going to take time. And just the routine's the main thing, I would say. I feel like that's a big help in keeping steady through all this.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really great advice, and I personally just want to thank you for all that you've done for the NU athletic community. You've made my 4 years better than I could ever expect, and I'm sure a lot of other athletes feel the same way. And it was
I
great having
appreciate
you
all
on.
of you athletes and stuff too. You
Yeah.
guys make my job so much better.
Well, that's great to hear. But yeah, it was great to have you on today, and all of your words are, words to live by during this time. So we really appreciate you having here.
I appreciate you doing this. It's awesome. It's a good way to keep the Niagara community together as best we can. All parts of the world stay together.
Yes. Well, thank you.
You are so welcome, my dear.
I just wanted to take this time to wish everyone in our student athlete community a happy National Student Athletes Day. Thanks for all that you do and for representing Niagara University with such positivity and energy. This has been Purple Eagles Podcast. I'm your host, Maggie McIntyre. Thanks for listening, stay safe, and go Purple Eagles.